Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to another edition of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys watching today's video. And guys, today we're going to be talking about how to put action and how to work a creature bait. Now this is a little bit different than a plastic worm. We did a video last week about how to work a Texas rig plastic worm, but we're going to be talking about the creature baits today for pitching and flipping, and specifically what you can do to manipulate them and put action on the bait to trigger a strike. So we're going to get into that. Real quick, guys, I'd just like to invite everybody out there, if you haven't had a chance, to consider becoming a channel member here at Intuitive Angling. Channel members get extra videos every week that aren't seen by the public and some access to my personal email address. It's a good way to support the channel. So if you're interested, on my YouTube homepage, you'll see a thing at the bottom that says join, and you can click that and get info, or go to the about section on my YouTube homepage and click on Intuitive membership. So much appreciated. Okay guys, let's talk a little bit about this. Creature baits, man. The creature baits are anything like, this is a Zoom Z Hog, which is my favorite. Here's a Sweet Beaver, a lot of people use. But anything, creature bait are basically just a compact piece of soft plastic, usually a little bit bulky, designed for pitching and flipping. That's the main thing. And also guys, you probably noticed I got this bead. A lot of times I like to put like a red bead over my creature bait, because when I'm shaking it in one spot, that bead will click a little bit against the sinker. You can hear that a little bit there, and sometimes that helps out too, but that's just a red bead is a good aspect there. But anyway, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you guys how I like to work it based upon the type of cover that I'm fishing. Now, when you're fishing a creature bait, guys, there's two different presentations that you make usually with a creature bait. Most creature baits, guys, you're pitching into some type of cover. Now you could pitch in, say for example, if I was pitching into a boat dock right there, or I may be flipping like this, into some flooded bushes like that. Now there's two different ways that you want to work the bait based upon if your bait is coming past an object like a stump where it's not hanging over something, or if it's hanging over an object, like if you're flipping into a flooded bush or into a lay down tree that's got some limbs. Sometimes you're flipping over a limb and the bait hangs down over that limb. So there's two different presentations. Both are pretty effective. So first of all, let's talk about flipping and pitching around what I call clean objects, like stumps, rocky banks, boat docks, that type of stuff. So I'll make my presentation out there, I'll make my cast with it, and when it hits the water, I've got my reel in my left hand and my reel handle in my right hand, and I'm working it with short hops like that, just bringing it past the object. I'm trying to actually make the bait move forward a little bit and not really keep it in one spot. So say for example, if I pitch it up underneath some dock pilings there, I start working it 3 or 4 feet out away from the dock piling until I get it out of the strike zone and make another presentation. But most of the time, I'm not dragging it like that. You don't want to drag a creature bait. You want to hop it a little bit. You don't want to like shake it in one spot when you're working past a clean object, but you want that bait to come off the bottom, probably anywhere between, say, 6 inches to a foot. Just hop it off where it hits the bottom like that. And another thing with the creature bait, guys, I found out that the key slip sinker size is a 5/16 ounce. Doesn't matter what type of creature bait that I'm using, there's something about the way the bait falls with a 5/16 ounce weight, usually coupled up. I use 20-pound test Seaguar and Vizex line, sometimes 25-pound test. But that 5/16 line combined with that 20-25 pound line, that's what gets me a lot of strikes. But that's my presentation as far as working at a clean object. Now normally what I do is I'll throw it past the object and I'll work it through the strike zone like that, and once it gets through the strike zone, I may work it 3 or 4 more feet, go in and make another presentation. So that's for pitching and flipping around clean objects. Now if you're flipping over objects, like over limbs, over bush limbs, over twigs, what happens there is the bait is going to be dangling like over a piece of object like that, and it's going to be going up and down vertical. So this is a different type of a presentation if you're over a branch like that. Before, we were coming clean, we were hopping just like that. But vertical is a different presentation and requires a different action. First of all, a vertical presentation with a creature bait gets a lot of strikes. Sometimes they want that vertical presentation. Sometimes the horizontal works pretty good, but I get a lot of strikes on a vertical presentation. And it's a little bit different how I work it. I'll pitch it out there over the object. And when I'm over something vertical, guys, I switch hands. I click my reel over, and my bait cast reel goes in my right hand. My left hand goes in front of the reel, and I put my line between my fingers like that, where I can feel it. And say, for example, I've made my presentation and I'm over the object now. Once it gets down there, I'll pitch it in, I'll feed it down to the bottom. So I'll pitch it in there, feed it to the bottom, say the bait's on the bottom now. And then as soon as it hits the bottom, I'm just gonna shake it like that. I'm not gonna hop it, I'm just shaking it in one spot, almost like a shaky head worm. And I'm not trying to move it, I'm just trying to get that bait to go up and down just like that in one spot. This will generate a lot of strikes. Now, if that doesn't work, sometimes there's two other ways I'll do it. If the shaking doesn't work, which usually works most of the time, sometimes I'll snap it hard. I'll just pop it hard like that, where the bait will actually pop maybe a foot or so off the bottom, like boom, boom, like that. Most of the time when I'm doing that, the water's clear. In a clear water environment, hopping it like that can generate a reaction strike, but the dirtier the water is, the more that you just want to shake it in one spot like that. Now sometimes also what I'll do, you can catch a lot of fish doing this, pitch your bait over the object like that, shake it like that on the bottom for a little bit, and then reel it just to where the bait is like right, maybe 2 or 3 inches under the surface. Like say for example, it's just hanging over a limb, sort of like this, just maybe a couple inches under the limb. What you want to do in that, and this works really good, guys, if you're flipping vegetation, is just shake it just under the surface like that, where the bait is like on the surface. And a lot of times those fish will come up to the top and take that bait off of the top. They actually follow it off the bottom and take it off the top. But anyway, guys, that's my the basic way that I work a creature bait for the most part. It's usually a combination of shaking it in one spot or hopping it. You're either trying to, get that reaction strike, or you're trying to draw the fish over to that bait. Because a lot of times if you flip it around to object, if you shake it in one spot, you can bring a fish over from a long distance to it. So anyway, guys, hope that helps out. I think it'll get you a few more strikes, and we'll talk later. See you.